Sabah everybody and welcome back to the channel. I decided to pick up the AirPods Max and unfortunately my package was a week late, so my coverage is starting a little bit later, but we're going to start off with a bang. I've had them for the last 48 hours. I want to share with you guys my impressions after using them for conference calls, listening to music, watching video, trying the spatial audio, the active noise cancellations, all of the things that make these special. But not only that, I also want to talk to you guys about the ability of improving the audio for these using your smartphone. There actually is a way to customize the EQ. A little bit of customization, not heavy, but definitely improvements over what you get out of the box with the AirPods Max. This is TK. Thank you very much for the support. Hope you guys like this video. Let's check them out. These are the AirPods Max from Apple. Like and subscribe and make sure you hit that bell icon so that you're always notified too whenever we have new videos on the channel. So in my experience of using them within the last 48 hours, I did test them out with both an iOS and an Android device, and we are going to cover that in a separate video. Today's video is pretty much my experience using them on an iOS device. This is how they're intended to be used. The new video that's going to be coming out, I'm also going to be comparing them to the XM4s as well as the XM3s from Sony from last year, as I feel like there's a little bit of a different experience coming out from depending on where you're listening to or watching some of these videos on them. Other than that, we're also going to talk about the EQ customizations that we're going to cover that I mentioned to you guys at the beginning. So first thing, let's talk about design. So as far as the design overall, yes, we're going to say all jokes aside, the design and as far as the actual casing that we get with this is very, very polarizing. It's either you like it or you think it looks like a purse or other basically things. So the headphones themselves have a very good, very solid build. The case itself is basically magnetically connected here, which initiates the deep sleep functionality that we have built in here. We don't have a way of turning them off, so essentially they're always on till the battery dies, and there is no function once the battery dies. But on the positive end, they do charge quite quickly. 10 minutes can give you about an hour and a half worth of playback, and they are charged via a lightning connector that is provided, a USB-C to lightning connector in the box, as well as a nice little LED. We have 8 microphones for phone call for active noise cancellation and 3 microphones for phone calls. No button configurations, so there's no gestures built in here. The only configurations that we have here are this nice little digital crown, similar to the one we have on the Apple Watches. So you're able to spin it for volume control, press it once to answer or hang up on calls, or pause and playback media. And we also have the active noise cancellation button that goes from on or so pass through or on. There is no off button option on the actual headphones. For that, we need to jump into the phone. The arm itself is very nice built, articulates in one direction only, and of course we can configure them independently, and of course just fits very nicely in the silo that goes up here. So they're very strong and very permanently showing when you're wearing them. I did go with this color mostly because of availability, but there are other colors available to your choice. The top is configured to be basically a mesh covering, so it's very different than what we've seen with other devices. Now, depending on the angle you're seeing them, you're definitely going to see and miss the fact that a lot of other units that are sold on the market have the nice little cushion options. Here we have a fabric material, which surprisingly feels very well. Unfortunately, it's not very protected. So one thing I would probably say is if this ever gets damaged, there's no way to replace it. The ear cups themselves are replaceable. You'll notice first and foremost that they are magnetically connected. So you'll see here, very nice. You put them on, they're going to stay there and they work really nice. And they're very nice, very decent size, and should be able to accommodate most ear sizes. They're marked with L and R, so you know exactly which position you're in, and they're also marked here on the back so you know which ear it is. And the reason behind that is there's that opening for the sensor that enables it to know when you have them on and off. So there's auto pause, auto playback whenever you're listening to them. So all you have to do is you put them on and you're starting listening to music, and when you take them off, it pauses. Now that function does not work on Android, it only works on iOS, so keep that in mind. Also, the functionality of turning on and using Siri only works obviously for iOS, but this does not initiate the Android option on an Android device. So play and pause, listening to audio, and of course skipping track all will work fine. And of course the crown configures audio on both devices. Let's talk a little bit more about what you are able to do on your iOS device to customize them. But other than that, these feel really good, very comfortable. I was able to use them for 2 to 3 hour conference calls yesterday and on Monday, and there was no problem at all. They get a little bit warm, but not so hot that it becomes uncomfortable. So that's something to keep in mind. Now, of course, they come with easy pairing to an iOS device as with all Apple products. So all you have to do is literally take it out of the case, put it down next to the actual headphones, and this, because they're paired, this is going to work pretty seamlessly now. But if it was brand new, it'll just say connect, configure them, and you're pretty much set. And all you need to do basically to configure the audio on this is go into the volume level, and then you'll notice that right now it doesn't show that they're connected because you have to put them on. And once you have them on, you'll notice there's a few options that change. First, the name of the AirPods themselves show up at the top. You're able to configure the volume level. Now, spatial audio works, and it works with specific applications, so you don't have to have this on unless you know you're using it on an app that does support it. And of course, you have noise cancellation. Now, as I mentioned to you guys at the beginning, the button on the actual headphones only configures them to two options, either transparency or noise cancellation. It does not support off. Off sounds a little bit weird because you start feeling, or you sound like you're actually in more of a tunnel experience. Transparency is extremely well balanced. It actually does a really good job of making it sound like as if you don't have headphones on. And you can hear it in my voice because I'm actually still talking to you guys with the headphones on, with it on, as you could see. If I turn on active noise cancellation, it actually cancels a big part of my voice, and I can start hearing myself being separated. For calls, very easy, very simple. This is really good if you decide not to take the headphones off, and still be able to use them. From there, you're pretty much set. The experience that you're able to use it, obviously you can install and use whatever music application you want. I've been using it with Tidal. Tidal is definitely one of my favorite applications to listen to music because it supports mastered audio. That's something that is always going to be really nice and gives us the ability of enjoying audio at its best. But before we get into the audio experience, I do want to talk about how to customize the EQ, as we actually have some options for that. And for that, we need to jump into the application. And for that, within settings, we just jump into accessibility and then audio visual. And you'll notice there's a few options right out of the box. First is the ability of configuring the balance level audio between left and right. Phone noise cancellation, that's option, of course, is right there. Mono audio, all of those things are good. But what I want to take you in here is to the headphones audio, which essentially is what these, or this pair of options that we have in here, work for both Beats and Apple Airpods supported products. And of course, the Max is supported. You do need to turn that on. By default, it is set to be basically all the way to slight. So we'll go ahead and this is basically what you get out of the box. You turn it on, you have balance, tone, and slight, and you're able to jump on between slight, moderate, or strong. And essentially what this does, essentially it boosts and amplifies the audio. So again, a built-in EQ that you're able to customize. You can also set it up to work with both phone calls and media, or just have one or the other. As far as customizing the entire experience, you have the option of going in here, which takes into the phone customization options, and it plays a sample of phone calls, movies and music, as well as audiogram, to give us the ability of tuning the audio on this to the best hearing capabilities, or the best, so think of it as tuning for your listening experience. Once you have that configured on and you have these two options on, that's pretty much set. It'll work with phone calls as well as movies and videos and everything else that you're listening to. And the only thing you have the ability of configuring at this point is just the volume level that you have in here, and it works really nice. So as I mentioned to you guys at the beginning, I listened to music on Tidal. I also did test out the spatial audio with Disney Plus for watching Mandalorian, the last episode that came out last weekend. So the overall experience is very, very nice. As far as the comfort in using these for the last 48 hours, I have to say that overall they feel very nice. The ear cups sit over our ears, so they're basically putting pressure straight on our actually head and on the top, which makes it a little bit more comfortable, and our ears don't feel uncomfortable after an extended amount of time. I was able to do 2 to 3 hour worth of basically conference calling with them. The mics sounded really good. The range was really nice. I was able to leave my phone and go about 10 to 15 feet away from it, and the audio didn't have any kind of issues with it. To about 2 walls between me and them. So range is really nice, as you'd expect. As far as the actual audio quality and what you're expected to get out of these headphones, I'll start by saying that these are not Beats audio. So if you've ever used a pair of Beats headphones from Beats, you'll know that they're basically very bass heavy and very much tuned to be very more of a thumping sound. The sound that you get here is a little bit different. It's more well balanced, I feel like. And what I mean by that is very simple. The vocals in the mids and highs are going to basically be very clear. There is some bass, there is a little bit of a rumble going in there, but it's not enough to overpower other parts of the song. So what I feel like this works great for pop music, vocals, classical music. It will work a little bit with dance and EDM and basically anything that has a lot of heavy bass into them. And if you tune it a little bit, you can definitely boost the bass functionality. You can hear it. But they're still not going to be tuned the same way as Beats. They're also not going to be tuned the same way where you're able to tune a pair of XM4s, for example. The XM4s have many different ways of customizing them within an EQ, and even out of the box, they're more tuned to be bass heavy, a little bit heavier on the bass. And I feel like here, they're trying to give you more of a well-balanced experience from an audio perspective. So vocals are going to sound great, mids and highs are going to be sounding really good. The treble is also very nice, well balanced there. As far as the bass though, I don't feel like this is going to be giving you that bass thumping. You're not going to be able to bang your head into this. This is not going to be one of those type of experiences. And I feel like Beats still has a really good market for that. If you're using these with either basically your Mac, obviously your iPhone or anything like that, the experience is going to be really well designed for that. That's really what these are intended for. Using them on iOS, we'll talk a little bit more in a separate video, but the overall experience for me, it's actually been very nice. The spatial audio, if you have a supported app, it's definitely going to sound really good. The active noise cancellation is truly amazing. And what I mean by that is when you put them on and you activate it automatically, they just literally almost block 99% of the sound around you. So to summarize the experience of using these for the last 48 hours, I'll say this. There's going to be some pros and cons. Pros, good audio, very well balanced, and of course, comfort for use. Phone calls were really good. Audio on this with the 3 microphones sounded really good. The 8 microphones that we have here for the active noise cancellation does a great job for not only isolating, but also making it so that you're able to actually listen into the outside. Having these on with the ANC pass-through option, you're able to basically listen as if you don't have them on. So that's actually a really good job. Now, as far as the auto EQ functionality, most of it is done with the H1 chips that's present on both ear cups here, but you're able to customize it a little bit more with your phone. It doesn't override it entirely, but it customizes it a little bit. And as you saw, it's intended for both Beats and AirPod, basically headphones. So it's not intentionally made specifically for AirPod Maxes, but I felt like this was something missing from many other coverages that you probably have seen up to this point. At the end of the day, I'm still going to be working towards my full review and of course more of a comparison with the XM3s and the XM4s. Let me know in the comments below, what do you guys think of the AirPod Max? At the end of the day, I didn't really discuss the price point. They're selling for $550, but in California, it's actually $601 after you add tax into them. Are they worth that much? From what I've used them so far, I'm probably going to say not really. I think they're probably closer to the $300 to $400 price point, mostly because some of the options that we have, let's say on the XM4, from the customization options, and even the ANC tuning, that's another thing that we can't do here. We cannot customize the ANC. It's on auto mode all the time, which is a good thing and a bad thing, depending on how you look at it. So we'll cover that all, of course, in the full review, hopefully next week. Again, like and subscribe as usual. Thank you very much for the support, and of course, I'll see you guys in the next video.